24 creepy with context pictures, according to Reddit. Number 24. Lebron James, very popular basketball player. Even if you're not into sports, you've definitely heard his name. These are his toes. Apparently nobody really knows why his toes are like this, and the only credible source, Chris B., says that all that running must have shifted his toes like that. Number 23. Blanche Monnier. Blanche was a free woman until she began dating a man that her mother didn't approve of. To maintain control of Blanche, her mother kept her chained to a bed for 25 years. She starved her nearly to death as well. Let's dig a little deep. The miserable imprisonment of Blanche. Well, damn. Jesus Christ. When you're a teenager living under the rules of your parents, it can seem like being in prison. But for Blanche, things got a little more literal. Let's dig out of her unbelievable story. In 1876, Blanche was a typical young woman of Paris. But the time had come for her to find a suitor. She set upon a lawyer who lived nearby. Although he was a professional, he was also older than she and not successful in his business. Her mother tried everything she could to stop what she saw as a doomed romance, but Blanche would not be swayed. And then, Blanche simply disappeared. Nobody in Paris saw hide nor hair of her, and the public believed she'd mysteriously vanished. Her mother and brother mourned her and went about their daily lives, all the while carrying with them an unspoken secret. Their scheme came to light in 1901, when the Office of the Attorney General of Paris received a mysterious unsigned letter. The sheet led off with a chilling pair of sentences. Monsieur Attorney General, I have the honor to inform you of an exceptionally serious occurrence. I speak of a spinster who is locked up in Madame Monnier's house, half-starved and living on a putrid litter for the past 25 years. In a word, in her own filth. Police were shocked. Madame Monnier was a paragon of high society from an aristocratic family and the recipient of community awards. How could this be possible? They were about to find out. A group of officers went to the house. Upon being denied entrance, forced the door open. They searched the premises and discovered a shocking sight. Upstairs, another locked door concealed a dark, foul-smelling room with its windows boarded up. When the police pried off the windows, they came to quite a surprise. Cowering on the bed, covered in food and feces, was an emaciated Blanche Monnier. The woman had been kept prisoner for a quarter of a century, never once seeing the sunlight or another human outside of her family during that time. Blanche's physical state was abysmal. She was severely malnourished and weighed just 55 pounds. Police wrapped her in a blanket and rushed her to the hospital. The nurses who took care of her remarked on her surprisingly pleasant disposition. She enjoyed being washed up and commented on how nice it was to see the sun again for the first time in 25 years. Madame Monnier was immediately arrested following the discovery of her daughter. When she was taken to prison, the stress caused her to suffer a heart attack, and she perished within the month. Before she died, police were able to coax a confession out of her, filling in the missing details of her daughter's life. When Blanche refused to give up her romance with the lawyer, a romance some have suggested might have included a pregnancy, quite scandalous for the era, her mother shut her in the upstairs room until she changed her mind, but the love-struck woman never did, refusing to renounce her beloved, and her mother did not relent. My God. For the next 2.5 decades, Blanche only ate scraps from her mother's meals, delivered to her room by housemaids or her brother. Even after the lawyer passed away in 1885, Blanche's punishment continued. Food waste built up in her room, attracting rats that were her only companions. Marcel, her brother, was put on trial for his part in Blanche's imprisonment. He was found guilty and sentenced to 15 months in prison, but appealed the fact that he never physically restricted his sister's movement. He also claimed that Blanche could have left at any time, but chose not to. Marcel won his appeal to the horror of the crowd assembled in the courtroom and walked free. It is still unknown who wrote the anonymous letter that led to Blanche's rescue. One theory is that her own brother did it, knowing that his mother was in poor health and wanting Blanche to be freed before he became her sole jailer. Another is that one of the house staff blabbed to a boyfriend and he sent the letter. Whatever the case, the remainder of Blanche Monniere's life wasn't pleasant. She was driven mad by her captivity, and unable to reintegrate with the world, was institutionalized. Monniere passed away in 1913 in a sanitarium. A reminder of just how much evil fills the world that you turn a blind eye to. But what was that? Just number 23. Number 22. Here's a picture. Not creepy, apparently, just very sad. So here's the context. August 11, 1947, Los Angeles. Mrs. and Mr. Thomas took their 2 children, Raymond and Patricia, 9 and 7 years old respectively, to the nearby Hanson Dam for a Sunday picnic. The children wandered off and could not be found, and the next morning Chief Lifeguard fished Patricia's body out of the dam reservoir and brought it ashore. While he tried helplessly to sympathize, Mrs. Thomas sobbed and turned away. A few minutes later, another search discovered Raymond's body. That's a dead kid, man. That's a dead fucking kid. Gotta be careful as fuck when you take these kids swimming, son. You gotta be careful as fuck doing just about anything, just about anywhere these days. Unfortunate indeed. Number 21. Rapist and serial killer Rodney Alcala. Here he is on a TV game show, The Dating Game, having just won. At this point, he had already killed 2 women. Well, everybody knows that the serial killers are charismatic. In 1978, despite his status as a convicted rapist and registered sex offender, already, apparently, Alcala was accepted as a contestant on The Dating Game, a popular show at the time, very popular. By then, he had already killed at least 2 women in the California area and 2 others in New York. Host Jim Long introduced him as a successful photographer who got his start when his father found him in the dark room at the age of 13, fully developed. Okay. Between takes, you might find him skydiving or motorcycling. An actor who competed as Bachelor 2 on the show later described him as a very strange guy with bizarre opinions, but Alcala won. He won a date with a bachelorette named Cheryl, who subsequently refused to go out with him, according to published reports, because she found him creepy. My God. Well, criminal profiler Pat Brown suspected that the rejection following his dating game appearance might have exacerbated his drive to kill. One wonders what that did in his mind. These are getting to be some interesting pages that I'm opening up. I wonder what someone might think of me going through my browser history. What a creepy person I might come off to be to them indeed. Or would any of these things in my search history be even necessary for someone to reach a conclusion such as this? 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. Picture of two brothers with their hair standing up from electrical charges. Okay, what's creepy about this? We ask as we arrive upon context just moments before they were struck by lightning. I was told one of them died, but it doesn't say anything in the article I found. Never fails to creep me the fuck out. That's the last picture you got with your brother before he died after you were both struck by lightning. Fuck me. Oh shit, an AOL page. Just gets creepier and creepier. Michael, now 56 years old, told NBC, "At the time, we thought this was humorous. I took a photo of Mary, and Mary took a photo of Sean and me. I raised my right hand into the air, and the ring I had on began to buzz so loudly that everybody could hear it." Yep. Nature is metal, son, not comedy. So, forgive me. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19. Adam Walsh's face imprint of his killer's floorboard. What? I don't understand. Adam Walsh's face imprint off his killer's floorboard. Somebody was face down on the floorboard of whoever killed them, and there's an imprint of the face. That's pretty sad. The guy died. That's so sad. I was watching one of those murder shows, and they said that the killer pretty much threw the body's head in the back seat and forgot about after he dumped his body into a swamp to be eaten by gators. And that's how they got the guy's face print on the floorboards of the car. World's a terrible place. The world's a terrible place. Travis Alexander in the shower. This is the last picture of Travis Alexander before Jodi Arias stabbed him to death in the shower and left his body. Holy hell. People are killers here. Forgive me for going back to count so often. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. This photo is taken from CCTV footage of James Bulger being abducted from a shopping mall. Is this a little kid? I think it is. Robert Thompson and John Venables, both aged 10 years old, two 10-year-old kids, abducted a 3-year-old, James Bulger, from a shopping mall before dumping his lifeless body on a train track. Before murdering the poor kid, they blinded him with paint, dropped him on his head, beat him with a lead pipe, and forced him to eat batteries before shoving them up his ass. It really is a depressing read. Now, I'm not crazy, and I'm not trying to disturb you. I'm a fully adult, fully self-aware, and capable of understanding type guy to know that what a lot of people are looking for when it comes to creepy stories leans more towards the creepypasta, let's sit around a campfire and listen to this dark tale that may or may not be pretty fictitious side of the spectrum, as opposed to the genuinely disturbing, people are evil, things are going on in the real world that you'd rather not think about because these killers are out there and among you. And, you know, these are just kids, so I guess the parents are to blame in this instance, because a lot of the times, if people can get away with something, they will do it. The only thing stopping a lot of people from doing things is the fact that they might not get away with it. Do you get what I'm saying? So the fact that there were no boundaries established for these kids ended up in the life of a child being taken. The real question for me is, what happened to these boys? What happened to these 10-year-old boys? Because, yeah, they're cruel, but it's almost not even entirely their fault. And you want to say that, but 10 years old is a lot of years. That's a lot of living. That's a lot of time to establish right and wrong. That's enough time. So like I said, I know that people are in the mood for creepypasta, and less in the mood to be disturbed by actual evil. But I'm just giving you a warning, because I guess I'm going to read this. CCTV evidence from the New Strand Shopping Center in Boot, taken on Friday the 12th February 1993, showed Thompson and Venables casually observing children, apparently selecting a target. Here's the picture, by the way. These 10-year-old kids grab and take a 3-year-old kid out. These 10-year-olds grab and take a 3-year-old kid out. So let me go ahead and resize this so that you guys can pretty much see just about everything that I'm going to read from the Wikipedia article. May not really be big enough. Let me try and work that out for you in case you would like to follow along. Well, the boys were playing truant from school, which they did regularly. Kids skipping school at 10 years old. Throughout the day, Thompson and Venables were seen stealing various items, including sweets, a troll doll, some batteries, and a can of blue paint, all of which they used, some of which were later found at the murder scene. One of the boys later revealed that they were planning to find a child to abduct, lead him to a busy road alongside the mall, and push him into the path of oncoming traffic. That same afternoon, James Bulger, often called Jamie by the press, although never by his family, from nearby Kirkby, went with his mother Denise to the New Strand Shopping Center. Oh boy. While inside the AR, Tim's butcher shop on the lower floor of the center at around 3:40, Denise, who had been temporarily distracted, realized that her son had disappeared. Thompson and Venables approached him before taking him by the hand and leading him out of the shopping center. This moment was captured on a CCTV camera, recording the timestamp at 15:42. The boys took Bulger on a meandering 2.5-mile walk across Liverpool to the Leeds and Liverpool Canal, where he was dropped on his head and suffered injuries to his face. The boys joked about pushing Bulger into the canal. During the walk across Liverpool, the boys were seen by 38 people. Bulger had a bump on his forehead and was crying, but most bystanders did nothing to intervene, assuming he was a younger brother. 2 people challenged the older boys, but they claimed that Bulger was a younger brother and he was lost, and they were taking him to the local police station. Okay. At one point, the boys took Bulger into a pet shop, from which they were ejected. Eventually, the boys arrived in the village of Walton, and with Walton Lane Police Station across the road facing them, they hesitated and led Bulger up a steep bank to a railway near the disused Walton Railway Station, close to Anfield Cemetery, where they began torturing him. At the trial, it was established that at this location, one of the boys threw blue Humbrol modeling paint, which they had shoplifted earlier, into Bulger's left eye. They kicked and stomped on him and threw bricks and stones at him. Batteries were placed in Bulger's mouth. Police believe some of the batteries may have been inserted into his anus, although none were found there. Finally, a 22-pound iron bar, described in court as a railway fish plate, was dropped on him. Bulger suffered 10 skull fractures as a result of the iron bar striking his head, and Dr. Alan Williams, the case's pathologist, stated that Bulger suffered so many injuries, 42 in total, that none could be isolated as the final blow. Police suspected that there was sexual element to this crime, since Bulger's shoes, socks, trousers, and underpants had been removed. The pathologist's report, read out in court, stated that Bulger's foreskin had been forcefully retracted. When questioned about this aspect of the attack by the detectives and the child psychiatrist, Dr. Eileen Vizard, Thompson and Venables were reluctant to give any details. They also denied inserting some of the batteries into Bulger's anus. At his eventual parole, Venables' psychiatrist, until he was age 21, Dr. Susan Bailey, reported that visiting and revisiting the issue with John as a child and now as an adolescent, he gives no account of any sexual element to the office. Before they left him, the boys laid Bulger across the railway tracks and weighted his head down with rubble, in the hope that the train would hit him and make his death appear to be an accident. After Bulger's killers left the scene, his body was cut in half by a train. Bulger's severed body was discovered 2 days later, on the 14th of February. And forensics testified that he had died before he was hit by the train. You ain't gonna find a list more metal than this shit, son. You ain't gonna find people going into detail about horrible shit like this. God damn. That's evil, baby. You know what I'm talking about? Because a child has an endless capacity for anything. And to be honest, they need to be kept on the right track. So some parents go fucking crazy. Yes, they do. You know? A lot of parents go crazy. They have it within them to lock a kid in a fucking room because of a choice that they didn't agree with for 25 years. But the kids have the capacity to be as crazy as the parents, if not more, if not set on the right fucking track. What the fuck went wrong with the parents of these shits? It's almost within a child to be cruel. You need to correct them. And this is terrible. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. This is a photo of Jim Jones and the mass suicide which was caused by him. For those of you who may be unaware, you know, phrases like, you've probably heard a phrase, don't drink the Kool-Aid. That comes from a guy named Jim Jones who, long story short, gathered so many people to his cause, to his doctrine. He basically got up, started preaching one day. A whole bunch of people believed in him and what he said. They wanted to establish a utopia. They were actually allowed to move out somewhere where Jones had the ability to cut them off from the rest of the world, have them living essentially in a figurative bubble. And they ended up sending out news crews to try and get the story of what's going on there. And a couple of people were like, hey, we want to leave. We want to leave. Which painted a very different narrative than Jim Jones was painting himself, with that everybody was totally happy because it was utopia there. So when a few people wanted to leave, more people wanted to leave. And when more people wanted to leave, Jim Jones decided everybody needed to die. So he wheeled out some Kool-Aid and poisoned that Kool-Aid and made everybody drink it. Some people willingly, other people at gunpoint. There's a audio video online in which you can actually hear him preaching while he got people drinking the Kool-Aid, the poison Kool-Aid. 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Nearly 1,000 people committing suicide. You got mamas giving the Kool-Aid poison to their children.
How very much I've tried.
You got wailing parents in the background and kids gurgling as they're drinking poison. We've had enough, right? Let's continue. You should watch a documentary on this. You should really watch a documentary on this. Remember one time I watched a documentary on this? Maybe I was in tears by the end of it. You know what I'm talking about? Jeez. Number 15. This image is rather small, but disturbing nonetheless. This photograph is of a Zeppelin crewman who bailed out after the ship was alight. It was on fire. A Zeppelin is the big blimp, you know what I mean? During a raid in World War I, the impact left an imprint on the ground where he fell. Damn. Damn, damn, damn. Well, number 14. This one looks like a little girl holding a baby, perfectly innocent. Okay. The context is, the little girl is 5 years old. And the baby is hers? There is no fucking way. What do you mean the baby's hers? Puberty could not possibly kick in that fast. What do you mean the baby's hers? Lina Medina, the youngest confirmed mother in medical history. This has got to be some sort of freak accident where maybe a baby is born with a baby inside them. Surely. In 1933, Lina Medina was born in Tacrapo, Peru. At the age of 5 years, Lina was brought to the hospital by her parents who complained of abdominal extreme growth. The girl's parents initially thought their daughter was suffering from a massive abdominal tumor, but after being examined by doctors in Peru, they discovered she was 7 months pregnant. Geraldo Lozada became Lina's attending doctor, fully taking over the case. Dr. Lozada took Lina to a more advanced hospital in Lima to confirm the pregnancy diagnosis. The diagnosis was confirmed. Lina was born with a rare condition called precocious puberty. So she was fucked? This baby was fucked into her? Precocious puberty is basically the early onset of sexual development. Most girls begin to experience puberty around the age of 10. Boys usually start a little later, around the ages of 11 or 12. Lina had experienced her first menstrual cycle at the age of 2. and a half or 3? She had been developing breasts by the age of 4. Within 5 years, her body displayed pelvic widening and advanced bone maturation. Lina Medina officially became the youngest confirmed mother in medical history at age 5. Who's the fucking father? Who's the father? The child weighing, okay. Lina with her 2-year-old son. Gerardo grew up thinking his mother was his sister. As might be expected, sexual abuse was immediately considered. The father of Lina was arrested on suspicion of rape and incest. He was released due to lack of evidence. Lina Medina never revealed who the real father of her child is, or the circumstances surrounding the impregnation. According to 1955 article reviewed the case, some have pointed out that there were frequent festivities and celebrated by the Indians in villages like the one where Lina was born. These often ended in orgies where rape was not uncommon. I don't know, nigga. I don't know, man. I don't know. Moving on. Number 14. I don't know, man. The photo of Soviet cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov. I've done another video that included this guy. You know, after a space capsule parachute failed, he crashed to the ground and he was incinerated. He burned alive. This guy burned alive upon re-entry. The thing about cosmonauts that makes the story super depressing is that in America, rest assured, you know, in our space race trying to get to the stars, if you go up there, if you have the courage and dedicate your life to preparing and doing something as insane, as like forward thinking, as innovative and, you know, sacrificial, you know, because your safety is not guaranteed, as going out, venturing to the stars, at the very least, you know, if things go wrong, we'll know your name. You'll go down in history. You'll be celebrated. But with the Russians, it was only about victory. Only if the mission was successful was your name going to be known. Because failure, you know, in the public eye, and what that means is the international eye, was apparently so shameful. And the Russians were so proud that it meant that plenty of cosmonauts probably went up and didn't come back down so gracefully. So to reveal the names of those people would be to admit that the Americans or whoever was doing it better. And it's pretty sad because these people gave their lives and then were edited out of certain books for their sacrifice. So that's the real tragedy here. That's the real tragedy here. The only thing identifiable was his heel bone. Let's continue here, guys. Number 13, Kevin Carter, Starving Child and Vulture. Yeah, you've all seen that. You've all seen that. I'm sure we've probably shamelessly put that on like a Time magazine cover or some bullshit like that, because that's what people like to look at. Starving kid though, man. And the Vulture. That's a hell of a shot. That is a hell of a shot. Number 12, maybe. A girl who grew up in a concentration camp draws a picture of home while living in a residence for disturbed children. You've seen this before. You have seen it before. I wonder if somebody put the photoshopped version of it. Because there's like an there's a photoshopped version and I'm not sure where. I am not sure where it is. These photos? What the fuck? Oh God, is she being forced to do this? Look at her face on the right. Is this a killer? They look like a typical young couple, but he is a serial killer. And she is identified and possibly his victim. His name is Michael Garguilo. Michael Gargiulo killed about 10 women. He remained unidentified for a few years now. Oh, she remained unidentified for a few years now. That is so fucked. You can see his eyes get crazier in every frame. Also, holy shit, he's the guy that killed Ashton Kutcher's girlfriend? People must have been commenting cute couple. Jesus Christ. Number 11, maybe? This picture. Yeah, you all know it. You all know this one. I think I've literally had this picture in another list that I did. It's Regina K. Walters, taken essentially a few moments before she was murdered. She would have known she was going to die at this point, as the person she was hitchhiking with had already been murdered by the driver who took the picture. My God. My God, she was hitchhiking with somebody else, and the guy already murdered that person. And as I recall, he made her put on the dress and heels to take pictures of her. Oh my God, it's so sad. The Last Jew of Vinica. Just imagine rounding up all of one type of person and fucking killing them, man. And that shit happened over there. That shit happened in Germany, boys. Jesus Christ. The Last Jew. Straight out of a movie, straight out of a book, but this shit happened. You know there are people who deny the Holocaust? Isn't that crazy? It's crazy and scary at the same time. You want to know something creepy? History is History is written by the victors. You know, everybody says his story. Get it? History. But what that means is, you know, I could have a kid right now, go live on an island, make up history, and the kid will believe it. And the kid can have kids, and we can form a whole new generation of people for hundreds of years. And the history that they will know is the history that I have passed down to them, because that's what history is. So we have pictures, we got the internet, we got shit to document what's going on right now. But, you know, a rock could fall out the sky and obliterate us all. And what will we know about our past? Probably nothing. We'd come up with a new language. We'd carve some shit into stones. You know, another rock comes out of the sky, hits us. We'd be looking at those rocks and the things that were carved into those stones. We wouldn't be able to make sense of it. We wouldn't know what the hell was going on or what went on. All we would know is what goes on in our lifetimes. Welcome to the Calleo channel. Number 10. This image. Okay. Was taken by a few Redditors. Nobody knew until much later that in this image near the bottom right is a trapped hitchhiker with a broken leg who is near death. Oh, is that this right here? Jesus Christ. Here is the comment from the picture taken with more images. I think I remember this. I think I remember somebody posting that picture. And they ended up rescuing that person based on the pictures. They ended up rescuing that person. Because here's the person over here. If you can see it. Right there where I'm doing my cursor thing. See? Yeah, they got one where they highlighted it. Holy shit, son. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, man. Get me out of this thread, man. This is giving me the creeps now. The class picture. Okay. Oh shit. It's the Columbine boys. And that's what they did in their class picture. Holy shit. Some of y'all are young as fuck. What the fuck y'all know about the Columbine High School massacre? All y'all need to know is this perhaps one of the most infamous school shootings of all time. Some dudes fucked a school up. 1999, April. Columbine High School. Oh boy, they shot that school up, son. And there's footage of it indeed. Why do we even need to go into it, Lord? Why do we even need to go into it? Well, creepy photos, creepy photos. Let's continue. Creepy photos. The Beast of Jersey. What? My God. The man who wore this mask, Edward Pisnell, would break into homes and rape women and children. Okay. He was convicted of 13 counts of assault, rape, and sodomy, but it was believed that there are many more victims. Okay. Ronaldo Dagza, a politician from the Philippines, photographed with his family outside of their home on New Year's Day. There's the gunman. You know this one. I've done this photo in another list. He was shot and killed by the man in black. One of the only times, if not the only time, that someone has captured their assassination on film. Well, there you go. This photo doesn't look like much, so let's look at it. Got a guy almost smiling and another guy running. Okay. And a guy on a bike in the back. The composition is all wrong. There's confusion as to what the main subject is, and they're all not in proper focus. Have a look at the guy in the background at the top left. The guy smiling. The guy with the plastic bags. Is this Tiananmen Square? The tanks are there. Oh shit. Have a look at have a look at what's in the background at the top right. The tanks. The tank man from Tiananmen Square. From the Tiananmen Square Massacre. Thought to be student Wang Whalin, the photo was snapped minutes before this famous one. You've all seen this. Imagine your government just rolling out tanks and you're having a protest, son. Imagine a government just rolling out tanks, you having a protest, and one man just standing in front of them tanks because he ain't in the mood. That's a picture, baby. There's so much in that. People say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but come on, man. Oh boy. Nobody knows what happened to the guy either. He may have been executed, he may still be in prison. Maybe he fled to another country. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's keep going here. How close are we to the end? 2 away from the end. So, number 2. Father stares at the hand or foot of his 5-year-old, severed as punishment for failing to make the daily rubber quota. What the fuck? Is the kid the one working, or is the father? Oh shit. Oh shit. The photograph is by Alice Seeley, and the man's name is Sala. Here is a part of her account from the book Don't Call Me Lady, The Journey of Lady Alice Seeley Harris. He hadn't made his rubber quota for the day. Okay, the man. This is the man, and he's looking at his daughter's hand and foot that was severed. Fuck me. As punishment for him not doing enough in his daily bullshit. What the fuck? Her name was Boali. She was 5 years old. Then they killed her. Oh God. But they weren't finished. Then they killed his wife too. And because that didn't seem quite cruel enough, quite strong enough to make their case, they cannibalized both Boali and her mother. They ate them and cut off the hand and foot of the daughter. What the fuck do you want from a man? They presented Sala with the tokens. The leftovers from the once living body of his darling child whom he so loved. His life was destroyed. They had partially destroyed it anyway by forcing his servitude, slavery. But this act finished it for him. All of this filth had occurred because one man who lived thousands of miles across the sea, one man who couldn't get rich enough, had decreed that this land was his and that these people should serve his own greed. Leopold had not given any thought to the idea that these African children, these men and women, were our fully human brothers, created equally by the same hand that created his own lineage of European royalty. Listen, motherfucker. You harbor a little bit of racism within you right now, listener, and maybe that's normal, or so you convince yourself. But the bottom line is, man, that little bit of racism, that little bit of, I want to say fire within you, you have, I guess, boundaries to keep that kind of shit restrained, right? But look at the mother who locked her kid in a room for 25 years. Look at the two 10-year-olds who kidnapped a 3-year-old, sexually fucking molested this kid, dropped an iron bar on his head, blinded him with paint, shoved batteries in the kid's mouth and up his ass, left him on the train tracks to cover their tracks. Without boundaries, a fire will go wild, right? A little bit of racism is how it starts. And then you are looking at the last Jew in a certain place. Do you get where I'm coming from? So, yeah, it's crazy. But at the same time, some of us are the problem. I've gotten so mad specifically at girls who've been raped in the past who don't take action against the people who fuck them over. And it's because my point is very clear. If you don't feel like you need to take action against this dude because you don't take a lot of stake or value yourself enough to do something about it, don't think about you. Don't get selfish and think about you. Think about what this person might do because they're getting away with it. People will do what they believe they can get away with for as long as they feel they can get away with it. And they're like an object in motion that won't stop until acted upon by another object. And if you let it keep happening, somebody else could end up in the position that you were in and perhaps are in now. Are you a bad enough dude to keep people from feeling as terrible as you felt? Why do you think I make these videos? I've been at the bottom. Sometimes I need a distraction. Sometimes I need something to entertain me. Sometimes I just need something to put on and forget the rest of the world, right? But I can't let that stop me, right? I can't let that make me forget to do something so that other people, right, don't reach where I'm at. And what that means is, hey, if you see some racist shit going on, you see some crazy shit going on, it doesn't need to be racist, it doesn't need to be evil, it doesn't need to be outright. Maybe it just needs to be you putting a figurative traffic cone in somebody's way so that they figure out boundaries in a way that may not be apparent to them because they're so used to getting away with it that they're going to continue to get away with it unless somebody stops them. You know, Jim Carrey, The Mask, somebody stop me. Is this a time for jokes, right? Fucking do something. You can't do nothing because shit'll get worse and worse and worse. Fuck me, this is a list right here. The number one post appears to be some sort of story. Back in high school, I had to take an elective, and I decided it might be fun to give photography a try. This was in the days before cell phone cameras, so I'd actually not taken many pictures in my life. One neat thing we did in class was a section on photojournalism. As homework, we were tasked with trying to recreate a famous photo from a newspaper or magazine. My dad at the time, he drove an old white Bronco, so I thought it would be perfect to recreate a photo from the famous O.J. Simpson case. Since I couldn't exactly get a picture of it on the highway with a million police cars behind it, I decided to recreate the scene where the Bronco was parked in the driveway at his house. When I got home from school, I saw the car was already in the driveway, which was perfect. I grabbed my camera, took some preliminary shots. I needed to wait until my dad and my brother got home so they could play OJ and AL Cowlings. Unfortunately, my brother's football game ran later than I thought, so by the time they got home, it was too dark to do it that day. I brought my camera to school the next day and developed the film, and after it was finished, I looked at my photos of the Bronco and my heart jumped into my throat. I somehow hadn't noticed at the time, but there was clearly a man there in the truck. He was wearing some sort of mask that obscured his face. He must have been trying to steal the car and just froze when he saw me. We called the cops, but there was no sign of him. I'm just really glad I didn't try to get in the car. I scanned the photo of the Bronco and the mysterious man that still haunts my son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. They got us, Stripes. They fucking got us, dude. It's that fucking picture. It's that fucking picture of Manning. They fucking got us, dude. Oh my god. I think at the end of the day, there's nothing creepier than the internet, man. I don't even understand this picture of Manning. Stripes. I don't get it.
Why is it funny? Why is it relevant? Why is it being forced?
Because it's like an image Rickroll. It's like the never gonna give you up in image format. This is a creepy list. I hope you enjoyed it. Special thanks once again to Emmy, Lexaeus, Regina McDonald, everybody for being fantastic and contributing to the monkeys here.
There was a picture of the child. Sorry.
And I'll talk to you all soon. Later.